Welcome to the OK Let's Learn podcast. This is two podcasts in one where we dive into tons of great, interesting topics, and another where we dive into tons of great stories and books. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. So today, let's learn all about the life of Clara Barton, the angel of the battlefield. She became famous for helping soldiers during the Civil War. She established the American Red Cross after the Civil War. She did so much to help so many. And I'll say this up front, the reason we know so much about her is throughout her life, she kept meticulous notes, diaries. There's been tons of biographies written about her, and yes, she wrote a book about her life. She was born in 1821 in a small town in Massachusetts, North Oxford. As a child, she was shy. She could barely speak to anybody. So here you are, a girl who avoided conversations, nervous around anyone that was new, and yet her life became defined by going into battle, helping people without even asking. But here's what she had. She had this deep compassion. And this all started when she was 11 years old. Her older brother, David, had fell from a roof and was badly injured. And back then, living in rural communities, there wasn't doctors around the corner that could help. So she stepped in for 2 years. She cared for her older brother. She learned how to give medicine. She learned how to treat wounds. And this whole experience changed her. It set her up for a life of helping others. As she got older, she became a teacher. And what was interesting during this time also, not doctors around, but also there wasn't free public schools. So if you were a kid in the 1800s, education wasn't guaranteed. She moved to Bordertown, New Jersey, and there was no free public schools. So what did she do? She opened one up. At first, if only a few students came, but the word was quickly out, and now hundreds were attending her school that she started. But just as soon as it became successful, guess what? The town hired a man to run it and paid him more than Clara. She was livid. She was upset. She was embarrassed. It hurt her deeply, so she left teaching. And now here she is. She moved to Washington, D.C., and she was one of the first women to actually work in the federal government. She worked in the U.S. Patent Office, which is an office that basically certifies inventions and gives it properly to the people that came up with the ideas. And this was not common, again, for women in the 1850s. And what happens next? 1861. The American Civil War begins. At the start of the war, wounded soldiers ended up pouring into Washington, the first big battle that I've referenced in an earlier episode, the Battle of Bull Run. Well, prior to this battle, the North thought the war would be over in 3 months. People picnicked up on a hill to watch this battle, and it turned into a debacle. Everyone was running, and soldiers were arriving into Washington with nothing. No blankets, no food, no medical supplies. Clara Barton saw this and she couldn't ignore it. She became known for doing something that no one else was doing. She went around to collect supplies, you name it, for whatever was needed. Bandages, medicine, blankets. She asked friends, neighbors, strangers to donate everything, clothing, food, anything that was needed. And her home was filled with boxes. And she made a decision that shocked a lot of people. She went to the battlefield. At that time, women were not allowed on the battlefield. They were not expected to go anywhere near fighting. But she didn't ask for permission. She just went. Eventually, she was allowed on the battlefield, and one of the first big, huge battles from a previous episode, the Battle of Antietam. She was there. She saw everything. The devastation, the suffering, and how anyone could work through this. The volume, the number of wounded and people dying out in the field is just too horrible, too crazy to even think about. Yet she was there the entire time. At one point, she lifted up a soldier that was wounded. He is sitting up. She is trying to hold him with one arm and literally have him drink water in her other arm, and a shot goes through her sleeve, ends up hitting the soldier. He passes away. The angel of the battlefield. She just didn't bring supplies. She brought presence. She brought hope. She brought grit, determination. She worked long, exhausting hours, sometimes without sleep. And she wrote about all these particular moments from soldier to soldier, from battle to battle. When the war ended in 1865, she didn't stop. Thousands of families were desperate. They didn't know what had happened to their loved ones, so Clara did something new now. She began this new mission, finding all these soldiers. She opened up this office of missing soldiers, and it helped locate over 20,000 soldiers alive, whether they were prisoners or, unfortunately, whether or not they had passed away. And you can imagine the letters that some of these families got. They finally got some answers. And again, another example of her really being an angel. Years later, she traveled to Europe, and when she was there, she saw this organization that was helping wounded soldiers during wars, and it didn't matter what side they were on. It was called the International Red Cross. And she's thinking, why don't we have this in the United States? So she brought the idea home. In 1881, she started and founded the American Red Cross. And it just didn't help soldiers. She expanded the mission, the idea behind helping others. You see, the American Red Cross, starting at this time and right through today, would help people during natural disasters, floods, hurricanes, fires, you name it. It was a brand new idea, helping people during emergencies. And think about it. What makes this organization so popular and so heartwarming is it's not coming from the government. It's coming from an organization of people that all they do is help. Clara Barton lived a long life to the age of 90. She passed away in 1912, and her impact is still with us today. Every time you see that Red Cross out there responding to a disaster, every time someone donates blood, every time someone helps in a moment of crisis, you can think back to one individual, Clara Barton, the person who runs towards dangers when everyone else runs the opposite way. Friends, thanks for staying with me on this journey, learning all about Clara Barton. Reach out to me at kevmok21@gmail.com. If you are following this on a podcast, especially Apple Podcasts, subscribe and follow. There's a plus symbol up in the top right-hand corner. Hit that. Any podcast platform of your choosing, it would be a big help to subscribe and follow. Why? Because we're trying to get out episodes every day, certainly every couple days, and when the new episodes are released, you'll automatically get them on your phone. So, until next time, have fun and keep learning.